Hello everyone, this is Lulu from As You Wish Pottery. In this video, we'll be recreating this Hello Valentine platter. As always, our supplies will be listed on the lesson plan, so feel free to grab that and follow along. Now, let's get started. We're going to begin by using a pencil to lightly sketch a large heart on the middle of the platter. This shape can be adjusted when it comes time to painting, so for right now we just need a heart that fits in the center comfortably and it's not too close to the edges. Remember that the pencil marks will disappear after the piece has been fired, so just remember it does not have to be perfect. Once you're done sketching the heart, make sure to pass your hand or a dry brush over the pencil marks to ensure that the pencil graphite doesn't build up next to the paint. This part is optional, but for the starting point of the heart, I use the detail brush to paint the edges of the heart, and then I switch to a larger brush to fill in the rest. So if you want to follow along with me, just use your detail brush to paint the edge of the heart with 1 to 2 coats of red. And then once you're done, you can switch to a medium brush and paint the rest of the shape with 1 to 2 coats of the red. Keep in mind though, you don't have to use the detail brush. If you feel more comfortable just going straight on with your round brush, you're more than welcome to do it. I'm a little bit of a control freak and I want to make sure that my lines look really nice and neat, so I like to use the detail brush for that purpose. So as you see, I'm filling up my edges really nicely so that way I can make sure that I can paint messily on the inside. So the detail brush just gives me the room to have that freedom to be able to be a little bit messy on the inside but not have to worry about my edges looking messy either, you know. So after I'm done with the detail brush, I'm switching out to my round brush. So as you see, this one's a little bit larger, and I'm just going to be using it to paint the center of the heart with 1 to 2 coats of red. Next, we're going to rinse off the detail brush really well, and then we're going to paint a highlight on the heart's right side, on the top right side of the heart, with polar bear. So as you see, it's just a quick little slash and a quick little dot, and that's all that's needed. Okay, so next we're going to use a pencil to sketch the horizontal and vertical lines on the rim of the platter. So for this section, we need a ruler, but if you don't have a ruler, you can see here how I made my own using just a piece of paper. And then all you need to do is fold it a couple times and then have it have a nice side, or nice clean side, and then just use your pencil to go over and create all your horizontal and vertical lines. At the end of this, it should look like a plaid kind of look, kind of a grid. So just know that it doesn't have to be perfect at all. This is just to give us a little bit of something else going on the rim. Okay, so you see some of my lines are going to be a little bit wonky here and there, but I think that adds character. Remember, this is something that you are creating free-handed, so it is going to be your own design or your own look. So if you don't want to do the plaid rim, you can do something else on the rim. It's really your creative adventure, so it's really up to you whatever you'd like to do. But if you'd like to follow along creating the grid, all you got to do is just use that little ruler that you created with paper, or a regular ruler. Anything with a nice sharp edge will work just fine, and then just sketch out some horizontal and vertical lines that cross one another, and that's it. I like to not overload it too much, so make sure that your lines have enough space in between them so that way they don't crowd and they don't become too tight, because then it would be a little bit harder to paint. Here's our grid. So remember, before continuing on, to brush off any of the graphite that's on the surface. Next, we're going to rinse off the medium brush, and with it we're going to paint the lines on the rim using 1 to 2 coats of Tin Man. So right now you can really start off on any of the lines that feel the most comfortable. Honestly, I like to start on the shorter ones just because it makes it a little bit easier. For this part, you can also use a medium square brush. So as you see, the medium square brush and the medium round brush, they're about the same thickness in bristles, but the difference is that one of them is flat and one of them is round. So if you have a square one handy, feel free to use that. If you have a round, that's totally okay. Just be aware where your rim begins and your rim ends, so that way you don't paint past that towards the inside of the platter. Next, we're going to use a small brush or a detail brush to paint the sections on the lines that overlap one another on the rim with 1 to 2 coats of high-ho silver. So that just means, you know, all these lines that kind of overlap one another, the section where they overlap, it leaves a little rectangle or square. So what we're going to do is we're just going to use the detail or the small brush to paint those little square sections, so that way it separates the background from the foreground, that kind of a thing, and it gives the stripes a little bit more dimension. So keep in mind though that that shape doesn't have to be perfect. I just kind of made some rounded little cubes or rectangles, whatever fit best. And I'm just going to go around the whole rim until all the overlapping sections are colored with the high-ho silver squares. Once we're done painting all the overlapping sections, we want to give the platter a couple minutes to dry. I'm going to do the rim next after I let my piece dry, just because I feel like the center needed a little bit more time to dry. So after I let my platter dry for a couple minutes until the rim was fairly dry, I'm going to be using the Black Lap Funwriter to outline all of my stripes. So as you see, I'm just going first of all vertically, but you can honestly do it whichever direction is the easiest for you. And remember that with the Funwriter, you just have to go over everything one time. You don't have to do it multiple times. And my advice when it comes to Funwriters is to have your little yellow pen nearby just in case your bottle gets clogged. Make sure to have a paper towel or something that you can use to wipe the tip of your fun writer as you're going. Just to ensure that the fun writer tip is always clean. I also suggest that you squeeze the center of the bottle lightly and then move fast as you go. Right now our lines don't have to be perfect, and if at any point they stop or break, just add a couple dots to make it seem intentional and then just keep going. So right now I'm just trying to outline the whole rim, and then once that is done, I'm gonna let that dry again for just a couple of minutes. It's nothing too long. This gives you enough time to prepare for the next section. Okay, so now we're going to set our platter aside to dry, and we're going to carefully and gently remove the letters on the blue sticker, leaving behind a sheet with just the cutout letters. So for this part, I did use the back of a detail brush because it has a nice little angle, and it allowed me to keep the inside of the letters that needed to stay on the sticker sheet and helped me remove anything that I didn't need. So as you see right now, there's the heart on the side of the H, there's also the H, the E, the L's, the O, that kind of thing that need little pieces inside of the letters. So you just want to be careful and be aware when you're removing your stickers that you want to keep those parts still there, okay? So for this part, just be careful, gentle, and you got the rest. Once we're done removing all the letters, you can toss those aside, and then we'll move on to the next step. Next, we're going to peel off the clear part of the contact paper, and we're going to place that right on top of our sticker, and we're going to press that contact paper on top of the sticker to make sure that the sticker adheres to the contact paper, and all those little gaps inside the letters transfer as well. So right now I'm just separating the contact paper from its glossy little background, and I'm just going to press it onto the surface. It's okay if it has a little bit of bubbles here and there. We're going to peel this off later. So right now I just need it to transfer all those little spots from inside the letters. So it's totally okay if it has a little bit of bubbles here and there. So once you're done transferring on the contact paper onto the sticker, onto the blue sticker, now you're going to separate that blue sticker from its glossy little background or back paper, and you're going to gently peel it off. Make sure that all the inside of the letters are still attached to that contact paper, and once you peel it all off, then we're going to place that sticker on the middle of the heart, as centered as possible. Okay, once we have it on our surface, what we're gonna do now is press the sticker onto the bisque so no paint seeps underneath. I like to use the back of a larger brush or the bottom of a bottle, anything that's large that can actually be used to press down the sticker onto the surface. Our platter should be dry enough that the sticker sticks to the paint and the bisque. But just know that there's areas where if the paint is sitting next to a bisque section, sometimes the sticker kind of has a little bit of room to let paint seep underneath. So what you see me doing right now is just going in all those edges that have bisque and also a painted surface one another. I'm making sure that the sticker is really stuck on there before I move on and I remove the contact paper completely. So as you see, I went on, I pressed it all down, make sure that everything was adhered as it should be, with the contact paper on top. Then once I felt comfortable enough that I could remove the contact paper, I did that. And what I'm doing now is just going back through and making sure that all of my sticker points are stuck to the bisque itself or to the painted surface. I just want to make sure that there's no gaps and no spaces underneath that sticker that paint could get underneath. Okay, so next we're going to move on to the next step, which is going to be to paint that sticker section with 1 to 2 coats of black lab, and I'm just using my round brush. I'm just making sure that I do 1 to 2 coats on there to make sure that the black looks really bright and colorful. And so right now it's just kind of messy painting. Just be aware though that if you paint outside of the sticker, it will stick on your pottery. So we want to make sure that we are painting within the lines in this case, right? We want to make sure that we're focusing our attention just on the areas that have letters on them. Okay, so immediately after you're done, you're going to gently remove the sticker from the center of the platter. I like to do this by pulling on the sides or the edges first and pulling it all up. So I like to do either from left to right, from right to left, or from the center. Pick up all 4 pieces and pull it up. And then once you're done removing the largest part first, you're going to use anything pointy like the angled back of a detail brush, a skewer, or a paper clip, and you're going to gently pull up all the smaller parts of the sticker that were inside the letters, like the E's, the L's, the O, the heart inside or next to the H, those kinds of things. So for this part, just be careful and be gentle. As long as you're careful, you can really remove anything. And the letters are fairly dry, so the only parts that are wet right now, it's going to be the parts that are sticker. So just be aware though, as you're pulling off the sticker, those parts are still wet. Make sure to keep an eye out on how dirty your hand is, so that way you don't touch anything that's still wet and accidentally transfer it over to your platter. Just note that if at any point you have any paint that has seeped underneath your sticker, all you gotta do is either scrape it off if it's paint on top of a painted surface, use the angled back of your brush and just kind of scoop it up, and then repaint that section with a little bit more of your paint of red or black, whatever it is that you have going on. And then that's it. It fixes it, no big deal. But if you have any black that has seeped onto bisque, all you gotta do is let that section dry to the touch, and then use the a pencil eraser or anything that you can, a pencil eraser or regular eraser, and just erase off the paint once it's completely dry from the surface. So before I move on to the next step, right now what I'm doing is just touching up any sections of my paint that had any issues, like accidentally when I was peeling off the part of the E, I accidentally scraped a little bit more of the black than I wanted to, so I replaced that, or I put a little bit more paint right on there. Then I had a little bit of black paint seep underneath the end, so what I'm doing is just touching it up now before I move on to the next step. And so our next step is going to be to use either Q-tips or the flat end of a pencil, and we're going to paint black lab dots around the inner rim of the platter. So we're going to separate the heart on the center from the rim. Alrighty, so lastly, we're going to use the round sponge, and we're going to paint the outer rim of the platter with black lab. Okay, so here's a little close-up of our finished painted piece. So as you see, everything looks really, really nice and mellow. And then once the piece is fired, all those colors will brighten up and all those lines will look really, really cool. So here's the fired version. Thank you so much for painting with me today. I hope you had fun, and have a great day. Bye-bye.